There's an update dropping in Marvel Strike Force next week. We're discussing that, including war changes, new Teal gear, Doom 2 raids coming, and all of that. We're discussing the latest bugs, and Drew is back. He's got more rumors about this Thunderbolts team that could potentially be on the way in November. Join with me on your Marvel Strike Force weekly news update is my brother Remanx. How are you, my friend? There's a lot to discuss.
Doing really well. I mean, COVID's over, right, for me, and on the road to recovery here. My brain's working again. I can actually carry a conversation. I think we'll find out, right?
I think you could carry a conversation a lot better than you were letting on. But I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back on the channel. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad your family is feeling better. And let's discuss the latest in Marvel Strike Force, brother.
Whoa. You're not gonna tell me what to do?
Oh. Yeah, tell them what to do, Remanx. Do you want them to smash it?
Well, if these rumors are true, maybe there's some smashing going on there. All right, let's go.
There could be. All right, so before we get into the rumors, before we get into all the Marvel Strike Force stuff, I do want to discuss the Hawkeye trailer that dropped. I got a quick question for you, because we always discuss Die Hard around the time of the holidays on this channel, on this news update. I do want to discuss, is this the next holiday show? Is Hawkeye a Christmas television show coming to Disney Plus this year?
I mean, it's obviously Christmas themed. You can see they have Christmas trees in the background. I think they're going to keep it around the holidays, and probably just make it about trying to get home to your family. So yeah. I think it's going to be a fun holiday movie.
Is it as holiday-ish as Die Hard though?
I think probably more so.
Okay. Ooh, that is some big pressure you're putting on these guys. All right. But moving on, I do want to talk about new relationship manager that we have in Marvel Strike Force. Zeke's was one of the community managers that was a lot involved with the community previously. She left a few months ago, and now we have a new relationship manager, Lori. And in this Reddit post, she describes about her passion for games, previous games she played, pop culture she's into. What do you think this will mean for the MSF community? Is it going to be more business as usual? Are there some positive changes coming? Or I don't know. What do you think this means for the MSF community?
So for me, I think Lori is probably kind of a signal that they want to utilize the envoys in a different way. And I think that's probably something that I think is important, because I know that when we were bubbling stuff up, it was hard to keep eyes on all the stuff that was, coming in from the influencers. And I think that there's definitely an idea this will be kind of our liaison in that regard.
Now, is she the replacement for Zeke's, or is this a total new position that we have?
This, as far as I know, this is a brand new position. The replacement for Zeke would be a community manager.
Okay, so managing the relationships in Marvel Strike Force, and as we know, playing this game, they do get strained from time to time based on some of the things that Scopely is doing. But we have an update dropping next week, which could be positive, could be negative. I guess we're gonna just describe it's probably going to be some of both, like with the normal updates. In this inbox message that we got last night,
corrected inbox message.
Oh yeah, because yes, very true. It did say 4 new playable characters, which did not go in line with what we saw on social media. These 3 silhouettes here. So yes, it did get corrected. It is correct now. 3 new playable characters coming, and I think we know who they are already, right? One was already revealed, Omega Red, which we're going to discuss in detail in the remainder of this show. I think that looks like Silver Samurai. I think that looks like Lady Deathstrike. Any other guesses that you're hearing who these possibly can be?
I mean, I think just to go with the iconic team, I think that makes the most sense. The only other thing that people were saying was Spiral for the first one, but I do think it is Silver Samurai, Lady Deathstrike, and Omega Red.
I think you're right about that as well. So that describes the 3 playable characters. New costumes. I do want to come back to that, because I don't know if they're definitely going to be new costumes, but I do want to discuss right now these. We'll come back to the Alliance War updates, but I do want to discuss right now Doom 2 and this Teal gear that is coming. So Doom 2, there's some alliances that are 100%ing Doom 1.1 right now. I know you're one of them. How much percent do you think you're going to be able to do on day one in Doom 2? Get up to that 30%, 60%, or are you guys strong enough that you're going to be able to 100% Doom 2 on day one when this update drops?
In my experience with these raids, they're very difficult to start with. A lot of times you're finding that you're building up different tunes. And so what I want to talk about, like with Doom 2, I don't know that we're even able to get in there. We don't know the requirements, and that's what we're hoping to find out soon. Because is it ISO Blue 3? Or is it ISO Blue 1? And so it's going to come down to some of this we've been getting away with just agreeing. So I think that we see this event that's in the game right now that's dropping those ISOs. I think it's important to only get those blue ions. That's the only thing you should be buying, so you can bank some ions in case you have to, build up some characters, and potentially grab some of the target farmed ISOs that maybe you didn't get, because like for me, I think I have 180 of every other ISO for controller and like 0 on like the armor one. So there's definitely that missing element because of the RNG with the blue ISOs. So hopefully this shop is something that sticks around going forward, but it's only about 5 days, which is about the timing of the patch. So my guess is it's just there to help bank some of the transition, and I think you're better served by getting those ions for being able to move things around. So I went through my roster. I probably would have to bring up. This is the requirement at blue tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. We don't know. I'm worried that it's blue tier 3.
Yeah, I'm worried that is that as well. Let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think it's going to be as far as the requirements? They did say that it's going to require blue gear. They weren't specific on it though. So are you predicting it's going to be the most friendly, requiring tier 1 of blue gear, or the least friendly, which has kind of been the trend for Scopely, being to tier 3?
But let's going to drop a deuce or higher on us.
I hope it's 1. I hope it's like let's give the community something to be happy about. Let's throw them a bone. Let's get them not as angry.
All
right. Teal gear is the other thing that's coming, and that is why Doom 2 is so important, because that is where you're gonna get teal gear, and that's the only indication, or that's the only place that's been indicated that we're gonna be able to get teal gear. And as we know, teal gear is going to be the requirement for Dark Dimension 5, which is also coming soon, maybe.
Yeah, and I think that would have been I think that's probably that mystery 4th character. So Dormammu probably would have been revealed this patch. So probably why we're not getting him is he's still cooking. And so maybe that's why.
Okay. So do you think that we actually are going to get Dark Dimension 5 in this update? It's not mentioned in these patch notes.
No, I don't. I maybe we'll be able to see some of it, but I don't think we'll see all of it. Right? We'll probably be able to unpack some of it in the data mines, but I don't think we're going to get an official announcement regarding it.
Okay, so guys, let me know your thoughts. Doom 2, is your alliance going to be ready for it? And let me know what you think is going to be the requirements as far as the ISO 8, and hopefully there's a good amount of teal gear that we could get so that a lot of people could get into Dark Dimension 5 in a reasonable time frame. But one of the big things that is happening in this update, mentioned it briefly, is these war updates. Now, I know you were a part of the playtest server. They did release that NDA, so you are able to talk about that stuff. But it looks like what they decided on since the playtest, there's going to be 2 additional slots for war defensive teams, 2 additional war energy at the start of the war, and a higher energy cap. I think that was 10 in the playtest. War ready trait, which means that you're going to need to require ISO 8 on some of your characters if you want them to get additional bonuses in war, new room bonuses, and more. All right, so when you see that this is what they're having in their final version of what is getting into the game, what are you most excited about and what are you least excited about based on what you experienced during that playtest of war?
All right, so the biggest thing is practice mode. Like if this is coming with the, which I'm knock on wood is probably the most important thing about this.
They didn't mention it. I hope it is coming.
I believe it is. I mean, it was an essential part of the playtest for them to be able to test the war teams out, which has been kind of a on our wish list. So that was like the most important thing. Second thing is, it's interesting to me to see how this plays out across all tiers and all time zones. And that's where I think I'm the most concerned as well, is because I think global alliances are gonna be in for a wake-up call, because I think a lot of people are gonna be changing time slots because of when that full clear becomes ready to go. And so if you're full clearing, you'll probably be close to full clearing again. Maybe we go back to a little while where we're not full clearing. I mean, if we're looking at the impact that Heroes for Hire are having, listen, I'm a fan, but I also understand why they're so frustrating. I mean, they're literally such a nuanced team, but this is you do not have the counter for them yet in the game. Infinity Watch is only a soft counter, so it's crazy about it, right? So the hard counter might be the one that's showing up, and hopefully we'll have some more insight going in to the patch. So that being said, I think I'm really concerned that some global alliances that that probably have people in Eastern USA and potentially Western Europe are not going to be able to play together, and that's an honest concern. I do think there's a lot of restructuring, and I think we're probably going to see a resurgence of searching for alliances or just downright quitting the game.
I mean, between the changes for war that are coming, having to be in the global alliance, and I don't know if you remember back when we had those 2-hour Deathpool raids or Deadpool raids back in year one. Not very fun if you didn't have it all coordinated, and if you weren't able to get on at a time. So war may be the same. Doom 2 is coming, which means that alliances that are kind of carrying other members aren't going to be able to do that if they want to get that teal gear. So what effect do you think this patch overall is going to have on alliances and the overall health of this game? I mean, this is my big fear is what you said. Alliances breaking up, but there's two reasons that it could happen. Not just Alliance War, not just Doom 2, both of these coming in the same patch.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple pieces of the puzzle here. There's always going to be change, right? And people have different priorities in your alliance, whether or not you believe it. People may have been content to grow with you as you experimented in Doom 1 or in you 7.5, but some people may always want to chase the end game rewards and be in the top earning alliance because that's the best way to make your account progress. And with the Dark Dimension and all that being unlocked behind, it reminds me more of exactly when the Greek raids first came out, and we saw Cabal and Pants just get that influx of gear because they're the only people able to 100% and get those G13 orbs to get those mini uniques and build up teams for DD2. And so that was that time period. Nobody else, if you did not 100% those raids, you didn't get G13. And so it was something that the rest of the community had to buy from the shops over time to get through Dark Dimension 2.
So I remember that being a pretty negative experience and negative feedback from the community. Why do you think they're bringing this back? Is it just purely for profits? Is this the only way they know how to make money is by squeezing alliances and keeping that pressure on to the alliance members to keep up the rest of your alliance? Is that why you think they're bringing this back, or what do you think the reasoning for them to bring this back? Because I don't remember this being very positive received. The Deadpool raids or locking gear behind raids.
So I will have to see. It depends. It seems like we're as far as like moving the cheese. I think they're a lot more communicative about what they're doing. So at least we know the cheese is moving, and we're kind of given tools to help understand where the rewards are coming from. At the same point in time, I know people have already announced they're leaving my alliance to do something because of time wise, and change is inevitable, right? Growth is optional, and we have to see how this flushes out, right? And the term "flush" is the most appropriate term for it.
Oh yes, flush, because all these changes, the devs don't even experience them because they don't play the game. They sim all the game, and they don't realize what this is going to do to Alliance, the timing, the coordination that it requires to come together at one specific time, and that for war, and then making sure that everybody.
I'm hopeful. This got two play tests. I just don't think that what they didn't do is they didn't play test it among everybody and get an idea of time zones. I mean. Yeah, they could add more time zones, and hopefully they react quickly. If the reaction is overwhelmingly negative, they react quick enough to make adjustments to this. But I will say that we had an excess of teams.
quick reaction from Scope. Oh, wait, I mean, we're going into 5.7, so maybe if there's negative received, maybe by update 6.3 or something like that, they'll make some changes.
6.9 is when I expect the biggest.
6.9 is when they'll fix more from these.
It'll be the best. I'm waiting for that. That's gonna be the best patch ever.
It's probably really accurate.
Yeah.
All right. Any other war thoughts before we move on to these new costumes that was described as well?
No, like I said, stay tuned. I hope you give us all feedback. I know that we're Valley and myself are like we like to pass along the feedback to Scopely. So please don't be afraid to tell us how you're feeling.
Oh yeah, and we got a new relationship manager, so that feedback should be taken now. But yeah, so I did want to talk about these new costumes because we're getting new costumes in the game, but we've had a few over the past few patches that weren't even released. So I'm thinking, are these going to be finally released? That awesome costume that we got for Emma Frost that I know some people don't like, but I think this is a better costume than she has right now. We also have a costume for Taskmaster, which was teased coming in this update, which was teased back in the 2021 roadmap, but still not in the game. This cool costume for Taskmaster, which looks a lot like the from the Black Widow movie. So
didn't the winner get that costume, right? The winner who won the sweepstakes got that costume.
I don't know. I thought it was just shards. I thought it was just shards for them. Was it the costume was
I don't
like
remember.
Only the one person?
I don't remember. I honestly
thought it was shards and crystals, but I could be remembering that wrong as well. So are these the new costumes that are coming, Remanx? That's my question.
They always add something else in the patch. Like we always, so while these costumes are coming out, they usually have something cooking.
What do you think is taking this Emma costume so long? Because we've gotten this 2 patches ago into the game. And then they said, oh, Emma's coming. We're like, oh, wait, no, Emma's not coming. She's coming the next patch. Oh, wait, she's not coming this patch. She's being pushed back. So what do you think is taking Emma so long to come to the game, or her costume to come to the game?
I feel like there's something going on with the Dawn of X. Maybe there was like a teaser coming in. I mean, there's so many. And again, you got to wonder if maybe they're working on something and they're changing priorities. I don't have that answer.
All right. Okay.
I will say that, when it happens, at least we're getting a teaser of it. It looks great. I got my Carnage costume today.
I didn't get it. We'll talk about that because you do need to be on pace for your milestones. Just a few more days here. But I guess the big news, other than the update is dropping, is the character Omega Red coming to Marvel Strike Force. And I think we knew about this kind of a few weeks ago when they dropped that silhouette tease. But Weapon X, and when we saw the kit, we saw all these war bonuses for Omega Red. We saw that he does not have a tech tag here. So when you saw his tags, when you saw his kit, were you disappointed that he was not a tech raid solution that I know I was hoping for? I know some of the community was hoping for it. Or are you happy that this is a counter to that horrible Heroes for Hire war defense trash team?
So I want to say this. I do think he's probably a raid complement to your X-Men.
Okay.
And he may wind up being a 5th member for especially because of what he can do to the enemy team. That being said, do we wish he was tech? I think he could have been mutant at his core and had to be mutant at his core, and then could have had the additional tech tag. Yeah. But to be very clear, there's also members of his team that might wind up being tech. So we'll have to stay tuned on that. But I will say that I am. This kit blew me away. Like it's like he took like the best of the last 3 legendaries and he said, all right, let's merge them all together.
Yeah, he is a very, very strong kid. But you mentioned that you think these two may be having that tech tag. Silver Samurai, Lady Deathstrike. You think
specifically she's a cyborg?
Okay, so you think that doesn't mean anything though. Well, they don't follow canon. They don't follow.
She's never been a mutant, and I don't remember her being a mutant.
Okay,
so
hopefully you're right. Hopefully you're right.
Well, I mean, if I just read the comics, man. I don't know if they do.
They might, but they just slap tags. They just slap tags and kits on whoever is going to be released. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be thematic. It's just,
I mean, to be very clear, she in this world, in this universe, What If is a great example of if different origins and different things happening. I mean, party Thor, party on, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see. We will talk about What If. I didn't see that one yet, though. So, all right. So, as far as the unlock method, I think that's the other controversial thing. This Secret Avengers and Nick Fury and Winter Soldier are going to be the unlock requirements for Omega Red. And then we're going to come back to his kit because it is, like you mentioned, it is a very strong kit. But were you expecting Secret Avengers for this unlock? I know we have had rumors leading up to this, but when this was actually announced, what was your reaction? Were you happy? Were you sad? Were you like, oh yeah, I knew as soon as they put Captain Sam in that strike pass, this was the team.
So 4 of them were pretty much what I thought it was. I thought they were going to make this announcement before Captain Sam left the strike pass, like they did with Polaris. And create kind of like a little hype in that bubble to make the extra purchases happen. But they made the announcement after he disappeared from the strike pass, right?
Yeah, so no way to capitalize on that.
I think that's a marketing fail. But at the same point in time, I kind of thought that Nick Fury would be part of it, thinking that they would have done Skill Avengers, right?
Yeah.
But to make it even worse, they decided just to throw Winter Soldier. And Winter Soldier's there for one reason. You know what his G13 is, right?
What is his Gear 13?
Carbonadium.
Oh, so like Omega Red, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and Phylavel. And so they like to make deficits for us. So we're always in the red.
So the other 2 characters probably also take Carbonadium, is what you're predicting.
I'm telling you that at the very least, if they did him any justice, Omega Red will take Carbonadium.
Yeah. But it'll probably say like Shield Tech or something, because
no,
that's making it.
To be clear, Winter Soldier is there for Carbonadium.
I think my big thing when I saw the announcement of the Secret Avengers was I didn't think this team was necessary. I saw the footage of this team and thought this team is crap. The team that I'm currently using in Doom does better than this new Secret Avengers that's supposed to be so awesome. They don't do it. Well, the footage that we were provided was in the Envoy program was crap because the Secret Avengers performed way better than they do in that footage. So a lot of people thought this team was skippable because they already had better solutions than the solution they're providing us for skill. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this was mislabeled? Do you think that we should have had different footage to show how strong this team actually was, what this team would be capable of in Doom 2? I mean, what are your thoughts on this release method and the Secret Avengers kind of being undersold to us?
All right, so let's talk about the Secret Avengers. Undersold is not the right term for it because I think they were pretty important because we saw that 3-piece combo and I think these raid teams they're building raids around these raid teams and
I realize that now, but the footage they didn't perform well at all in that footage that we got sent.
That was I felt like that was rushed service for us, and it didn't really do. But more importantly, Captain 3 things. Captain Sam came out in a strike time, where they said that he was especially good against minions because he'd get up to the 10 speed bar, and then he doesn't give the speed bar. So a lot of people were like, "Oh crap, he doesn't work the way that they described him."
Oh yeah, he was broken. He was broken. Yeah,
and so he didn't. And then there was a couple pieces of the puzzle with they changed the language of Captain Sam, so people rejected him. Maria Hill came out and she was bugged. She wasn't giving the bonuses to shield allies. Or to skill allies, only shield. And then Sharon Carter, while on event campaign, people didn't realize how powerful she was outside of war, especially as a war offense team. Yeah. And she has one of the most powerful turn one moves in the game.
So a lot of misinformation about this team, and I think that's for me. Yeah, they look skippable. They look like a skippable team. Considering their bugs, the way this was built. I mean, I don't think there was too many bugs on Sharon Carter, but Maria Hill, that was a debacle with all the Red Star stuff that was happening. Their kit not working correctly. That was a bad release of the characters. Just because of that, I was like, I'm not spending money. They don't deserve my money. But I guess if I wanted Omega Red, I should have thought of that in the first place. Now, speaking of Omega Red, you mentioned his kit. How strong it looks. What stands out to you in this kit? Is it the wall of text that is his passive?
No. So let's be realistic. Let's talk. So things that stand out are the fact that he basically does everything that Minerva, Doc Ock, potentially Adam Warlock. He basically has so many different pieces of the puzzle, and I think the longer he's in battle, the more powerful he becomes. It's pretty crazy. Extending debuffs and specific ones that are important to, I don't know, the mutant team. The idea that he's reducing speed bar, he's draining, and so he's a dark dimension character in that conversation right away to see how he's going to operate there. So I think he is a lot more important than people are thinking, and he. I wish Adam Warlock was like this. But he definitely, and I had my chat kind of like check up and say, is he overhyped? And I went through it and I'm like, I want to say that I have to take a step back and I can't be like, oh my God, this is the greatest character ever. But on paper, this is probably the most powerful legendary I've seen come to the game.
Yeah, he looks very, very strong on paper. And he has a new effect. Adam Warlock had that new effect that he brought, the Safeguard. Omega Red brings trauma. So I know there's been some confusion about trauma, how it works. I know Cerebro answered some things in the Envoy chat, but I don't think he answered that in a public section. So what can you tell me about trauma, how that works, how it's supposed to work, and where some of the confusion is coming from? So
I think trauma is one of those things where it's just like Safeguard, where it's kind of its own negative effect, like Safeguard was its own positive effect. It isn't something that's going to be stolen or copied. So you have to understand, so this won't be spread because it's that's the same mechanic, just an opposite. So and it won't be flipped. So it's not like you're going to be able. But what this does is this basically is preventing teams like Infinity Watch and teams like Heroes for Hire from getting those buffs as long as they don't die in res.
Okay, so and do you think this is going to be that hard counter for Heroes for Hire? This is what this team is built for. Do you think that trauma effect, it provides enough to fully counter Heroes for Hire? And I know you haven't seen the rest of the team's kits and all that set, but just based on what you see from Omega Red.
Just Omega Red, I think has most of the tools to counter this team.
Okay. That's good. That's good because that's what they're supposed to be doing. Now, I think the big question from this team and the wish that a lot of the community wanted was for this team to be viable in the tech section in the raids. Doesn't have the tech tag, but potentially the other characters do. Now, how strong do you think Omega Red is going to be outside of war? You mentioned potentially being a fifth for the mutants. Do you think that this kit is strong enough to be viable in other game modes? And if so, which ones?
All right, so we can talk about just on his passive. All right, so his passive is really, he has that on turn heal, and he has probably the highest health pool I've seen on a character. I think he may be higher than Adam Warlock as far as health. And then you could see that there is the basically he's got his built-in sustain. So right off the bat, that like ignore everything else. Let's go up to his ult, and then his ult is speed R reduction. So he kind of has a maw component. Yeah. All right. So and these don't happen inside of war. Right. The only thing that happens outside of war is the trauma component of it. This is a redistribution of health. So this is a drain. So if there's a lot of health in the enemies on the opponent team, even if it's capped by his health, if his health is so substantially larger than everything else we've seen, then I expect it to be phenomenal. Then his special is literally just it's a 3 out of 3. And if you look at his special really quickly.
There we go.
Yeah, and if you look at his special, and so you've got this right off the bat. It's a first turn ability block. All right, and so you have offense down. All right, and then you got a little bit of a health drain there. So kind of like what we had from Yellow Jacket. So not as powerful first turn, but then his basic is important because this is why I think it works. Is he's extending slow and offense down, which are two of the biggest components of what Kitty Pride with the offense down. He's providing offense down and then extending it. and specifically his own bleeds potentially, but more importantly, the slow from Iceman. So it's basically he's definitely able to do that, and he's got a steal on his basic.
Yeah.
and so most importantly, they said everything happens, and I think mostly the duration. They said everything happens on his assist and counterattack. So it's striker for the class. Yeah. So I mean, he on paper he's exceptional. I think he has the potential to work in there because I don't know if the Axeman's going to be immediately able to spin up and get that speed bonus. So he won't be just standing in a place like you are currently with the Axeman when they get a kill.
Yeah, this is a strong character. He got so much to his kit. He's going to be viable anywhere that you could use him. Any raids that he has access to, that you could take him in, he'll be good. So global. You got a solution if you don't have Bishop in the global lanes of beta right now. All right, so moving on, we have a blitz coming up. Controversial blitz because of some things surrounding this and some bugs surrounding this, but we have a blitz tonight for Luminous Orbs. For I see your face. For either cloak orbs or dagger orbs, you could open whichever. Is this the worst release method that you've seen? Strike Pass combined with blitz and not being able to unlock both of these characters for at least 2 months if you're a free-to-play player.
It does feel pretty bad, right? And more importantly, it's getting them close to 5-star if they wind up being another legendary and requirement.
Yeah,
is nearly impossible. And these are 2 Strike Pass characters, and it feels confusing because it's different than what they've ever done. And so they threw us a curveball, and they wound up I think just overestimating that and they miscommunicated the entire release of this. I mean, I don't even know if they know what they're doing yet with this, and I feel bad.
They had to correct a correction 3 times or something like that before they finally got the actual data correct.
Well, it doesn't matter. If you got them both, there might be a bug, so we'll have to talk about that in a minute.
Well, there definitely is a bug. There definitely is a bug with this. So let me know your thoughts. Are you going to go hard on these blitzes for cloak and dagger? But yeah, there's a bug. Recently, there was an issue. Some players unintentionally got luminous credits due to an error with Strike Pass. To make things so, do you know how this came about?
Old currency.
Yeah, laziness with old currency. Exactly.
Old currency.
Not deleting this. So yeah, so some players were able to get dagger fully unlocked. This person in this screenshot was able to get 35 stars, so 7 orbs. There's other people with all different types of amounts, and yeah, this was not a good release method considering how greedy it is and the bugs for it. So they're gonna offer 4,000 luminous credits, which equals 10 orbs, which equals 2 orbs, which equals 10 shards. Do you think this is fair? Some players were able to fully unlock dagger. Some players were able to get, in that example, 7 orbs. Some players less. Some players more. What is 2 orbs fair for dagger?
I mean, to be very clear, the problem they have is, are they going to adjust the people that got the extra advantage? And it's not any fault of their own, right? It's not like they put it on there. They did anything exceptionally shady other than realizing.
No, it's scopely. It's scopely.
Where did these come from? Maybe it was from a hidden calendar. I didn't know. Or, I mean, there's a lot more than 2 out there, and people have seen it because whether you were in an alliance with them or you saw it out there, I think people. I mean, free stuff is free stuff, but not in this regard. This doesn't balance out what the advantage other people are given.
Well, what benefit? Obviously, what benefit does Scopely have to say no? It's just 2. What would it hurt them to say, hey, everybody's getting 50 shards of dagger because of this error? Some people are going to end up getting more, but hey, everybody is at least going to get a minimum of 50. That means you only need 50 to finish this unlock. What would hurt them to do that? I mean, in my mind, that would make people buy more strike passes. But what is their logic? What's going on with them?
I'll tell you a story. So I just recently, this older woman who was leaving a grocery store was having trouble with her cart, and you could see that she was, in obvious pain. So I took her cart to the car, and she insisted on giving me a tip. And I said, I can't take your money. And she's reaching into her chain purse and grabbing a quarter. And so what you have to understand is there's value that they establish, and there's value that we establish, right? So to them, 4,000 Luminous credits represents something vastly different than what it represents to us. We think that they can just pass it out because they're really, they can just print money. It's inflation. They can worry about inflation later on, and they probably should to earn goodwill, but they're so unwilling to that they just leave these question marks going forward. And I think the idea behind it is you can deal with the inflation later on by marking stuff up for the people that are spending, right? So the idea that giving out like 10,000 or 20,000 could have shut everybody up, they'll never understand that because they're holding the purse string so tight.
Yeah, I mean, it's very disappointing. It's very disappointing. It's fake. It's digital.
I just feel like they just and if they went too bold, it could affect their future plans for other things. But would that help them in the future with that goodwill that they build up for the community? I think honest, that it could. There are so many different games that do similar things, like especially in Hero Collectors, the compensation is often something that's maligned by the community. Let's be clear: this is 10 shards of your choice of characters. In 2 of the most recent releases, it's not Chewbacca shards, right? And so that's the old joke. But if that's what you're comparing it to, that's a low bar. Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Some Red Star issues, more Red Star bugs. These don't seem that egregious, but just that they're correcting them. Red Star Rampage Blitz not giving out the correct milestone rewards or ranking rewards for this. So I guess they're going to fix that.
So they did really well last time. So I will say they did pretty well last time with the Maria Hill debacle, and so I was able to 7 red my my ultimates.
When you say that they did pretty well, in what sense? The timing, they did that in a timely manner, because there's so many bugs. I don't even remember what they did for Maria Hill. So what did they do for that?
It was more timely than previous times.
Okay, but
it was still well after her maximum use. It was literally after her offers were done.
Okay. So yeah,
I think it has to happen within her initial release window, so that people have the power of the character.
That's not going to happen.
Well, I mean,
Scopely's going to take at least 3 weeks from this announcement to do any sort of compensation.
I'll be honest with them. It has to start happening more frequently, because when you buy a character and you make that initial purchase and you roll on those red stars, if the red stars aren't rate up, you have to buy more in that window. And so you're doubling down. And so that is borderline fraud.
Yeah, I can see that. If you're selling something, not giving what you sold, or giving something different.
And I will say this: communication is key. And time to resolution is just not where it needs to be.
No, not even close. Should be a few hours, few days at max. It's now a few weeks.
It needs to happen before the character leaves the red star orb, so people have a chance to make up for what they've lost. Otherwise, you're seeing people just frustrated, not building teams or leaving the game over this type of scenario. And this has been a lot of the attrition among the top Krakens in the game and people that may have spent for the first or second time ever. And it's impacting the whole community at large.
In addition to the Red Star ranking reward, you also have this Red Star Orb not dropping dark promotion credits only for about 20 minutes. But yes, I guess should we be happy with their more communication? Because these seems like minor bugs compared to some of the other ones that we experienced. And I like that they're communicating this. This I feel was something that in the past they might not even mention. So should we be happy that they're mentioning it, that they're getting out ahead of some of these things instead of just waiting for the community like, hey, that was screwed up. Maybe they'll forget.
Like, this is a 4 release patch, right? So of the four characters released, but 2 of them experienced some major issues. Now we got another issue with the red stars. It just seems like the development team may be tasked with too much, and so
I I mean,
slow down. Let's figure this out.
I mean, you're being generous with it too. I mean, if you count that announcement of the strike pass and how Cloak and Dagger is going to be announced, you could say all 4 of these characters have issues. And let's move on to this one, because I didn't even know about this bug that we talked about beforehand. There's a max damage bug that you talked about with me beforehand for Deathpool. So explain this. I didn't even know this was going on here.
So this is specifically happening because with Deathpool, when you have the bonus damage from Cloak and Dagger on the field, and she has offense up and they're hitting in a defense down, the game isn't calculating her damage correctly. So the numbers over 10 million, there's a chance that it's expressed in a single digit.
Oh, fun.
So it goes from one-shotting a character that you've been building this ult up for multiple turns to tickling them and just basically leaving you vulnerable. And potentially, some people had issues being able to complete the Mystic nodes on a team that should have been designed to do that. And the problem with that is there is no way to, I think it has to be 5 red, 7 or high. I don't have the exact numbers, but it all depends on once they hit the field. It's just the way the calculation's occurring that it's just one of those errors that happens. And I don't. And this was reported a while ago when Carnage was doing his ult onto a character with like several hundred buffs, and it was not doing the damage that was expected. So we knew something was wrong with the damage calculations.
Fix your game, Scopely. Come on. Every character is like getting bugged. All right. So yes, more with Deathpool, and that's very disappointing. It seems like based on what you're saying, she's getting worse when you add more members of that new Warriors team to her, because they can't seem to code their game properly.
The bigger she is, the harder she fails.
Scopely. All right, let's move on. You guys suck at your job, Scopely. Let's be honest. You guys suck, and you've sucked for a while. Let's talk about this event, though. This unstable element event, because I like this. We mentioned this before. This is a decent event, but nothing really communicated to us outside of this blog post here. So when this dropped yesterday, I know I was confused. I made a video about it this morning talking about what you got to do. And basically, the only way to earn points for this unstable elements event is by either collecting your daily objectives or by purchasing your these offers there. So what are your thoughts on this event? Is this generous? Because we're not having to do more stuff. This is just completing daily objectives, and we're getting stuff for it. So what are your thoughts on this event? This is actually kind of a cool event, because again, it gives you some agency, help you get with a catch-up mechanic, wherever you are in the game. But more importantly, is another way for ions, because blue ions are going to be the most important portion for those who want to build towards Doom 2.0 or start being able to complete Doom 1.1. And and more importantly, if you go to the supply section of that image, you can see that you can target potentially some of those orbs that are those ISOs that maybe you had a hard time hitting during your opening of your orbs, because we all know that there's been some RNG to that. Yeah. So I think but mostly you're going to want to spend it on ions and maybe balance out some of your characters for building them up, because I think right now I wouldn't equip anything because we don't know what it looks like yet. When Doom 2 comes out, the Krakens are going to go beta tested for us, and we have to let them be the QA. Wait a minute. You're not including yourself in that group. You are the tester for the community.
I'm not even sure my alliance will get through it. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. I don't know if we're gonna get into it.
All right, fair enough. We don't know the requirements.
I don't know if I can get into it. I don't have enough ions saved, because I had to do some. I had to do some testing for some of the different Heroes for Hire counters, and I changed some ions, and I did some testing, and now they never made this feel good. The acquisition of blue ISO and ions has been terrible. So if they keep this kind of hanging out as something that's around periodically, like once a month, bring this back for a week, bravo, because it'll help balance out some of the ion deficit and some of the ISO imbalance that's happening when you're popping these RNG based orbs that never should have felt as bad as they did. But I do think that there's a strong chance that if they go with the ISO 3, that even the Krakens aren't going to be able to run in their day one and 100% it.
Well, yeah, I mean that Doom. There's a lot of question marks surrounding this, so I don't know what the best thing to do with this would be. I think the common thought is buying these ions because they're so rare.
I can make it super easy for you. So if your alliance hasn't even started doing the Doom raids, you may want to think about getting those green ISOs or ions to balance out your character. But I will say the majority of people should be getting to the ion orbs. The ion orbs are the biggest problem right now in when you're in the end game. That is the bottleneck for the blue ISO. And so if you want to get to Doom 2.0 in the next, I don't know, 6 months, you may want to get a head start with some of those ions and pop those orbs before they leave the shop.
I would agree with you that the ions are a big problem. I don't know if they're the biggest though, because you did mention this previously. The ions are one of the bigger problems, but then is the RNG nature of this. As you see this brawler one, for example, I only have one of these, but a lot of times with the other brawler crystal pieces, I'll have 20 or 18 or 80 or something like that. So what I mean, those are the two big problems. So what would you suggest for someone that has not gotten the good RNG? Would you suggest it's better to spend some of these elementary particles on the pieces that we're missing that may never show up, or to spend it on this rare ions that we know we're gonna get by opening the stuff? It's guaranteed, but it's a very low rate. So what do you think is best in your mind?
Ions are the only one that aren't available that are the ones that I've had to actually core.
Ions you've had to core.
Yeah, so to take a character, if you have 0 ions, which you will hit as you're leveling them up, a character from 1 to 3 cost me about $200 in ions.
Oh my goodness.
And so they're giving you those orbs, which is a big deal. That is. These are 450 core orbs.
Well, here's the argument against that though. You could spend cores to get the ions that you need. If I needed this controller, which I have 0 of, I can't spend cores to get that. That may never show up. So I don't know. I guess it really depends on what you need, what you're struggling with. But I think no matter where you're in the game, I think you should be going for this blue stuff, whether it's the individual pieces or the cores. You may not need it now, but I think down the road, because it's so rare, even if you're using all green ions right now, I think you should be going blue, whether it be the ion orbs or these individual pieces that you may be missing.
Or something. I don't know. I mean, it's at some point they're gonna hopefully, make this stuff more available, just like they did with the greens. But right now, it's still, it's reserving the rewards for the elite, and that's always been the way that these games succeed.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yep. So hopefully it comes sooner. Now that teal gear is being introduced, and that's the new bottleneck. Hopefully they ease up on this bottleneck of blue. I'm crossing my fingers. I don't know if I'm super confident that that's going to happen.
This is a good start. I would say that you have to be you're going to have to take a good long look at your roster and try to figure out how to make the best of this. And Val, you make a very valid point. And I did talk to you about that you may want to look and see if you are, if you have 90 of the controller, you got one of the others, then I think you want to balance that out. So you at least can bring up one character. When it gets long.
So. Yeah, I mean, every ISO blue is a problem. So I guess whatever is going to help whatever problem you're in.
I know you've seen my feedback on it.
Oh yeah. I don't know if Scopely has. I've seen it mentioned in the Envoy chat many times. I don't know if they've seen it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, a shop like this with the agency, from the raid would be so much better. If this was what the raid gave you was these credits, it would feel this would be amazing.
Oh my god, but that would require a shop and planning and all that stuff. I mean, we know this.
Anyway, this would have been if this was the release way, I think it would have been great.
Yeah, this is a much better experience, and hopefully they have this return more often, not just on a 5-day event or 6-day event. All right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm glad we're seeing that type of shop happen where there's more agency.
Yeah, I like that.
It does mean that they are listening a little bit.
And I did like that shop that they had for that Shang-Chi event as well. I like that they're doing this. This is a good thing.
Yeah, it was definitely really good.
So Adam Warlock came back this week, which is helpful for people trying to finish off that Infinity Watch. Yeah. So did you get an extra star on Adam Warlock? Was he already at 7 stars for you?
Yeah, he was 7, but this
he was already 7.
So I'll be honest with you, Adam Warlock came back just in time for Shang-Chi to sell him to the community.
Yeah.
I mean, it realistically, and it's smart. I mean, that's smart when it comes to, frustration mechanics. It really is smart. I mean, that's what these games excel at. But I think Adam Warlock, and I'm going to say this out loud. Oh God.
Uh-oh.
I like him better now. He's better than Doom in the Doom raid because of Cloak Dagger and specifically Deathpool feeding him energy. Having his stun and ability block, I think, is actually so much better for me. And because especially with the ISOs that I chose for the team, you're empowering him to do a ton of damage, ton of control, extending the debuffs. Like he his basic extends all the debuffs that are being applied by Cloak. So this is a surfer, and I think Adam Warlock are my mystic choices here.
Yeah, I think that's what the community's been telling me as well. I've been using Doom for so long, and I think if you're just using Deathpool without Cloak and Dagger, Doom is the better choice there. But with the full team, the stun, the ability block, everything else, you got to kill him twice in the raids. I think he does offer a lot of value. So congratulations to everybody that unlocked Adam Warlock this week. Congratulations to everybody that got an extra star on Adam Warlock this week. And if you got Cloak and Dagger and are struggling in the Mystic section, I think this provides some good relief for you. Any other thoughts on Adam Warlock before we move on? It is almost rumor time. Before we get to the rumors, I do want to talk about What If. Now, we're not going to talk about yesterday's episode. I've not seen that yet, but I got to watch it with the kids. I got to watch it with the kids.
I thought, like, you set me up. I was like, oh, you saw it. Party order.
No, I didn't see it. I know what it's about, but I didn't see it. I want to talk about last week's episode, though. So if you have not seen last week's episode, I don't even remember what episode that is. The Killmonger one. Spoiler warning. We're going to talk about that right now. So
you can skip to the next section right away after this. Let's go.
I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
You can skip to the next section, right?
The next section is going to be very good. Don't skip though, because yes. What are your thoughts on Killmonger before we get to the next section? Because Drew is coming back.
I thought that was a really interesting story. It was definitely, and it's it's really interesting how these what ifs are shaping up. I feel a real, like, the alternative storytelling is really leaning into what happens if a hero doesn't develop. Like what does a world without heroes look like?
Yeah, it's kind of depressing, you know. I feel like the normal story, and then
sacred timeline. Maybe that's why there's a sacred timeline.
Yeah, because if it's not the sacred, it's gonna go to this weird thing where all these heroes are dead and everything. Killmonger is very, very sneaky. I was even believing him in some of the episodes, and I know he was lying. So, what do you think of Eric? Do you think he's gonna get a bigger role in the MCU because of this? They maybe bring him back to life. Maybe the alternate version of Killmonger is still alive and well in the MCU. What do you think this does for this character, or is this just a one-off episode for fun?
I think it's a one-off character episode for fun. Just from my early, the version that we saw in the Black Panther movie won't happen, but there very well could be another version of him. If this whole multiverse winds up being how they introduce some of the extended universe.
Yeah, the timeline, the sacred timeline has been broken. So we got all kind of timelines now, and who knows what's going to happen. But I hope you're not right, and they do start to add some more of these elements of What If into the larger MCU. I wouldn't be disappointed if they don't, canon, but I think it'll be cool.
They're saying this is canon. They're saying the events in this stuff are canon. Like these really happen in the universe.
Yeah. So what do you think that means, though? Do you think they're going to bring in some alternate reality or alternate timeline characters into the MCU? You know, bringing back some of like the zombies or something like that, or is this
Christmas? I think will probably help explain that, and so will Doctor Strange.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it. All right. Before we move into these rumors, I want to ask you, because there's rumors in Marvel Strike Force about the next team. There's rumors about Thunderbolts possibly coming in November. The Eternals movie is coming out in November, and that would kind of fit with the next team coming in November. So who do you think the team is going to be? Are you leaning more towards the Thunderbolts as the next team in November, or are you going with a more traditional guess that we've had for over a year now, that Eternals are coming out in November?
So I think the rumors are out there, and this would make sense for a most recent addition to a team. Because
which one? Which one would make the most sense?
Well, we talked about how he because he does appear in a couple of them, and I think isn't that on the rumor list? The seasonal soldier.
Wait, what is?
The Winter Soldier.
So you're thinking Thunderbolts instead of Eternals are more likely now.
It's possible, because then they can justify what they just did to us, right?
With the Winter Soldier, yeah. So all right, so let's clear up some of these rumors. We got your guess. Let's talk to the rumor guy, because he knows more than I do, and I don't. He may or may not know more than you do. I know you always let on less than you actually know. So let's talk to Drew. See what he's got.
I'm not the rumor guy. I like to speculate.
Let's talk to the rumor guy and see what he's got for us.
ValleyFlyin, Remanx. It is good to be back here discussing the latest Marvel Strike Force rumors. This time, again, discussing the Thunderbolts and the Eternals. And I'm hearing from my little birdies that the November team is the Thunderbolts to help with the Boyle raids. And the December team is the Eternals for War and Grand Tournament. And currently, on the Thunderbolts, they have the tag for 5 characters. The devs in the tests are testing 5 characters with that tag. And this may or may not be who is actually on the team when it's released in the game, but the names currently being tested: Abomination, Winter Soldier. I mentioned them earlier this week, and the new names on the Thunderbolts team currently, right now: US Agent, Red Hulk, Agent Venom. Let me know if you think all of these characters will remain on the team when it's actually released in the game, or if you think more changes are coming. But that is the latest. I need to go and grab a cold one, but don't worry. As soon as I hear any new rumors, I'll be back.
Oh my goodness, those are some exciting names. Abomination, Winter Soldier. We've heard about those rumors earlier this week, but US Agent does fit. Red Hulk does fit on this team. I mean, they're called the Thunderbolts, for goodness sake. And Agent Venom, I'm hearing that he was supposed to be on another team, but now he's kind of moved to this as default, and you know, it kind of goes with some of the rumors we're hearing of Scopely just shifting kits from one character to another. It doesn't matter if it's thematic or not. But all right, so do you believe these rumors? Do you think they are facts? That's what's happening. And do you think that even if these rumors are true right now, that they're going to stay with this team, or they're going to make these massive shifts like Scopely normally does?
So I feel like this, the Thunderbolts are what I call Thanksgiving leftover rumors, right? It's basically all this, like the A-Bomb and the Red Hulk and, you know, a Winter Soldier rework and Agent Venom was teased, like a year ago. And so these are all like probably things that they probably were left cooking and are now leftovers from that didn't make it on their team or didn't get in, you know, so they can kind of like throw together this, you know, and Thunderbolts are kind of that way, right? You know,
you said they're like a Suicide Squad, Marvel's Suicide Squad, so it fits.
In some ways, like, that's probably the easiest analogy for them. But Thunderbolts because of Red Hulk, right? Thunderbolt Ross. So kind of like their mismatch. I mean, there's been a lot of characters that have fit on that are already in the game, and so I know you Marvel heads will agree with me and tell you in Valley's comments exactly who you hope are on the team. But be ready, be prepared. This is Marvel Strike Force's version, and we don't always get what we want, right?
No.
So Cough, cough, Adam Warlock. But you know, when it comes down to it, canonically, it can make the most sense, and you know, there's probably 5 or 6 characters there that are either in the game or coming to the game that'll probably flex out our raw in needed ways without solving the raid too quickly, where they don't make money from the Krakens who are beta testing the raid. So I don't think we're going to see the bio solution right away.
So you don't think that the Thunderbolts are the bio solution? You think maybe they're for something else?
I think there's some bio support there.
Okay.
But I don't know if they're going to be a bio solution, because again, if they sell us the solution to this raid too soon, they don't have the frustration mechanic to buy more energy, refresh nodes, and all of these things that they utilize as part of their revenue engine.
Is the frustration mechanic the team, or is it all this bottleneck blue gear and stuff to actually get into the raid? Because even if we have the solution, if we can't actually enter the solution into the raid, how frustrating is that for players?
I think even when you get the team and you have the right team, like, you know, look at the bio nodes, they make money on those bio nodes every week.
Yeah, and the tech lanes as well. So
yeah.
I don't know. All right, well, those are the rumors. Let me know your thoughts is if these turn out to be true. So would Abomination, Winter Soldier, US Agent, Red Hulk, Anti-Venom being Agent Venom, excuse me, not Agent Venom being on one team excite you?
Yeah, they're biologically important.
They seem like they're biologically important, and I hope they make a difference in Doom and ultimately for Dark Dimension 5. Remanx, any other thoughts, my brother?
No, that's it, man. I'm glad to be back. I really feel like I missed you.
I missed you. I missed you.
We're getting a little bromance music going on a little here. But I know that you guys can catch me on Twitch, YouTube with some of this stuff. I have some speculation of my own on what to do to prepare for these raids, and I'm really concerned that you're going to invest in characters that are going to have little impact if you're not careful with some of these changes coming up. And maybe Doom 2.0 has that magic. I can do it with 4 characters, and so we'll have to see.
So you think we should just be hoarding now, since a lot of it's wait and see?
So I think
just hoard until the update drops.
I think especially with these ions, I wouldn't equip them because they're not doing anything for you until the update drops.
Cool. Makes sense. So yes, wait on your ions. Let's see what the requirements are. Maybe we'll find out tomorrow. Maybe we'll have to wait till next week when the update actually drops. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative to you. And hopefully it didn't jump all over the place enough. But if it did, there's timestamps in the description. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. If you're listening to the podcast version, make sure you give it a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, and a 5-star review, whatever platform, if you're listening to the podcast version. Remanx, as usual, brother, it has been a pleasure. It has been way too long. Give me that fist bump before you go. Oh, you got an X. The X Force is here. Remanx and ValleyFlyin out. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Check out some other videos.
Oh man, I think people are trouble with
I'm gonna be hopeful, probably naively hopeful, and hope that it's just one ISO 8 level 1.